Alright guys, good morning. I'm going to call to order the November meeting of the Finger Lakes REMAC. Minutes were distributed. If I could get a motion for approval. Motion. Second? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Mr. Program Agency Director.
The PR is formerly known as John.
So, several things. We've been busy with the conference stuff. It's well in motion. The handouts are up here for all the sessions. I think we had a pretty well-rounded offerings this time around. Just looking for the physicians to essentially bless the content and give their approvals for CME credits on that.
Does that need to be a formal motion?
It should be,
Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda?
Just what's right there in terms of the
correct.
topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're interested in any of the descriptions of the titles, I can show you which one it is.
Looks robust.
Yeah, it's supposed to say pretty broad spread. You got my vote.
That was my goal.
We have a motion. Maybe a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Just want to kind of give you guys an update. There are several services within our region that are participating in the state IHL program, the pilot program. So you may see, some BLS folks coming into their facilities with IHL airplanes. So there's rough numbers, 6 agencies across our region that are participating so far. And that's being run out of the folks out of Hudson Valley. And there'll be data coming out along the way. We haven't seen anything yet. But there's certain requirements that those individuals have to do, post insertion for reporting and et cetera. So that's that. Topic of discussion at our at the State Training and Education Committee is the sunset of the EMTCC class. There's not a whole lot of EMTCCs, maybe in our region 20. But there's discussion as far as how long we continue to have that as a level, and when do we stop essentially supporting that level. That's been a discussion for a while at the state, but it seems to be gaining some traction as far as coming up with a date.
What do they mean by supporting that level?
Well, allowing people to recertify, because right now they don't offer any more original classes for the MTCC, but you can do a refresher or a whole. And they will just at some point stop offering those. I know there's other regions that their REMACs are taking the stance that, we're going to set our own date for the individual, and then, after that, they either drop down to the EUT level, or they move up to a permanent.
So it does allow them to grandfather though into an agency.
Well,
They already would have had that.
right. They've already had that training, so it's a matter of recertifying at that level, I believe. So they would have to submit all their stuff into the Bureau of Training people and let them review it and rank the cards. So the state also has a tag committee going on currently that will be dealing with critical care transport and what level or what classes would be acceptable for the education. So more to follow on that as that moves along. Currently, there's a list of 7 or 8 different classes that has various levels of critical care transport education that are being looked at. And then they are also looking at developing a statewide field training program. So individuals from agencies that are field trainers would have to take a prescribed educational component to continue on as a field trainer for your agencies. That's early in discussion, but I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar as far as things that might be coming up. A couple more items. So I want to thank Finger Lakes Health. They contributed, they became a gold sponsor for our conference. So that was much appreciated. And very welcome, the funding for them. And then we sent out a letter asking, we're going to try to do like a gift basket style auction to raise funds to minimize our costs and try to keep the cost of the program down. And then finally, going forward, we would like to create a policy, something that will be coming in writing, if there's any agenda items that anybody would like to discuss, we would like them to be submitted in advance, no later than 7 days before the upcoming meeting, just so we can try to maximize the meeting and be more efficient with that stuff. And then agencies, if agencies can submit a written report as far as if there's anything that they would like to report to us in advance, and then we'll distribute that. Any questions?
Great, thank you. Donna?
As far as the classes, fall classes are still going. 2 of them will start out on December 16th, which will be the bulk of them. The EMT class goes through until March. We're working on spring classes as to where they're going to go. Flyers will be out next week. The paramedic program is rolling along, and just so everyone knows, today is my last day with me. I'm retiring December 28th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Donna.
I mean, I'll still be helping register the spring classes or until they find somebody to replace them.
Well deserved. Thanks for everything, personally for me as well, for assisting. Mike, RSA.
Nothing to report. We are going to have a meeting, hopefully, beginning of the year 24, to discuss the future of the RSI program, what we want to do, if we want to have another class, or what we want to accomplish. So hopefully I'll get that out before the holidays.
It's going to go down the agenda. New York.
Nothing really much for me. Full service inspections are complete for this region, so thank you all for your cooperation. Only other thing is, if you have any paperwork to submit, please use the portal. We are not accepting anything by mail anymore. Please do not email it to me. use the portal. If you can't find a link, let me know, and I'm happy to help you, but absolutely everything is being conducted through the portal.
Great. Mercy Flight.
Nothing too crazy from us, we're busy, but if anyone's looking for CME credits next Monday, we have a webcast. It's going to give you 3 CME credits. It's free. You can register online on our website or on our Facebook page or Instagram if you're doing that. And this one's going to be a critical care track. So it'll be a little bit more advanced than they normally are, but it should still be engaging. And if you're BLS, you should still be able to understand some of it, so I would still suggest you do that.
Great. Anybody from LifeNet? No? Can we just go around the room for ground agencies?
Yeah, so last month we had a small ceremony to celebrate our 50th anniversary. It was actually in 2020, but due to COVID and other circumstances, we were not able to do it until last month. So that was attended by my officers and a couple state senators. Then I promoted a captain. Captain Russo is our captain, and we're just still doing status quo. We're excited to be teaching a lot of classes coming up. I'll be teaching an airway class hopefully in January, and we'll just keep going on.
Great, thanks. Fearless.
Busy as usual. I got some new people starting.
We had a transfer from soldiers a couple weeks ago. So just to verify, when for a critical care transport, when Mercy Flight is not flying, we still have the ability to rendezvous with the Finger Lakes ground crew if Finger Lakes does not have an SET team. Is that still a viable option? Yeah. I think that's what ended up trying to happen, and then the weather got better, so then Mercy they sent the aircraft. Can they go?
No report.
Just getting the rollout for TXA for agency out and continuing to work on our CQI program.
Great. We had an event at North Seneca a few weeks ago where what did we talk about? Sign-offs and the importance of informed consent. So that I thought that ran pretty well.
Yeah, that was actually came out of our CQI program. We've seen a large increase in sign-off post-COVID when COVID had allowed us to sign off, kind of encourage more of it and reduce it, and we noticed the numbers continue to grow. And we encourage, Dr. Talbot has come out every quarter to do a training at our agency, and those trainings have been directly correlated with our QA findings. And that it seemed to have worked out very well for us to improve the quality of our community.
I always learn things too, so it's always good to do those review. So we have Dr. Osman.
Nothing much from Thompson, pretty much status quo. So they got some questions or comments.
How you guys been volume wise?
Steady. Down significantly from the peak in July and August. We're still on par to set records in terms of our volume. We're looking around 34,000 visits this year. Will that be the official number in another 6 weeks, I guess?
Great. Dr. Sheehan?
I guess to speak for Penn Yan, we're trying to expand our capability. Just got a ventilator in Hamilton, so we're working on getting classes and people certified to do more transports in that regard. Otherwise, nothing else to report.
Anybody from Gates? Dr. Taylor?
I don't have anything for Newark or Clifton. I don't know, James List.
Just volumes-wise, New York's been a little softer the past couple of months. Clifton has been significantly busier since we've seen the new ED open. We saw 51 yesterday between Mike and myself, which is by far the most we've seen in a day in that new space. So certainly seeing the volume pick up there. Otherwise, it's status quo as we figure out the kinks of the new space and the change in behavioral health capacity and how that works. The odd space being within that CPAP space within the ED is it's definitely a different animal that we're still working to figure out.
Did that increase capacity for CPAP?
Okay, so in the old ED, we had 6 medical beds, 2 psych beds. In the new space, we've got, so the CPAP space is kind of an isolated space within the ED. There's an evaluation side and an observation side. One of the big pushes to open the space was the OBS side. The OBS beds had always been up on the inpatient floor at Clifton, which is a no-no in terms of the state office of mental health. It's just something we were always grandfathered into. So the big push was to separate those beds from the inpatient space. So there are 2 with a 3rd room if we get to the point where we think volume will support opening those 3 rooms. In that space for extended observations, and that does give us a couple of additional inpatient beds upstairs, so technically increases that capacity a little bit. And then CPAP-wise, we have 4 beds as opposed to 2 as far as evaluation spaces. That being said, we are seeing the CPAP space used a little more traditionally, as you may see the CPAPs in the city and so on, where folks are hanging around for a little while, 12, 24 hours, and sometimes getting to the EOB space, sometimes not getting to the EOB space. And as I'm learning the ins and outs of some of the legalities of that, they can only put somebody in an extended observation if they are seen by the psychiatrist in person within 6 hours. Because we are a small volume CPAP, we still only have psychiatry on site 12-ish hours a day. So if anybody inevitably comes in at 8, 9 p.m., needs to metabolize some substance, they're going to be hanging out in an evaluation bed overnight. Theoretically, that would be somebody that you could move to the extended observation side, and if they come in during the hours when there's a psychiatrist there, they can. So that being said, it has definitely given us some additional beds. We are continuing to work with our behavioral health team to ensure that we are moving folks through those beds, because probably not happening quite as quickly as we'd love it from the ED standpoint, but it's, we're 2 months in, and it's definitely a very, very different workflow. So I expect that'll continue to improve as time goes on. But
who staffs the EOB?
So the nursing perspective of it is done by, there's an ED nurse and tech that manage the space. And then the clinical evaluators from the behavioral health team, the CPAP team, have other duty, rounding and doing activities with the EOB patients, etc. As far as the physicians, it is handled entirely by the team that handles the inpatient side.
Great, thank you.
Quick question, when you say psychiatrist, it has to be an actual psychiatrist person?
Yes. To put them in the extended observation space?
Yep. You can't do telepsych?
They are working on approval for that, but at the moment they do not have it. And as I understand, no one does, because they don't like to give that approval. But it's technically looks like it's acceptable based on books. But as we have learned, the Office of Mental Health has their guidelines, and then they have their interpretations. And the interpretations is what we work off of. And that's a little bit of a moving target.
And once that 6 hours has elapsed, you're done.
Right, you can admit them,
Just not
but you can't put them in the extended observation. So that usually means they end up hanging out.
So the impact of that is that it limits your CPAP availability.
Right, exactly. And we also got when they were doing their initial survey, we were told that CPAP also cannot see anyone outside of the CPAP space. So if that CPAP space is full, we've got another patient who's out in the hallway, technically, Office of Mental Health said we can't see him out there. Now, we have not let that stop us from seeing them out there, but nonetheless, it's always...
Well, what would they have you do with them?
You need more capacity. Was the answer during the site visit.
Then do we are, bigger one.
So,
Regularly could make a better.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, not convoluted at all.
yeah, so nonetheless,
For the group, and I don't know if any of the docs want to comment on this, but the state just released some guidance too on some additional requirements for behavioral health and substance patients, substance use disorder patients, on what the requirements will be for CPAP and for emergency departments, which Amy is assisting in clarifying.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
That document was a
The
disaster.
white paper.
Yeah.
I forgot something. I apologize. Head injuries. Two things. I couldn't think of the name of the senator. It was Senator Helming and Senator Burns at our ceremony. Second thing, for RSI agencies, in December I'm going to be sending out an email seeing if you're still interested in being an RSI agency, and I will need agency leader and medical director signatures on that, and with a list of your active providers.
Great. See any old business?
So this is kind of a combination of old and new. So Dr. Glick sends a letter. He's nearing the completion of his police academy. Should be back in the area on in the middle of December. But his letter states, early this year we spoke about forming a new CQI committee. We asked for names and recommendations and volunteers to step forward. We received the following names so far: Zach Jabot, Dr. Taylor, Doug Tatlock, Matt Spruill, Jeremy Ayers, Bill Kalush, Dr. Cohen, and Jason Hay. It says thank you for everyone's interest that they've expressed. There's still room for a few more. And if you're interested, let me know. By me, he's talking about me. And brief discussions. He's looking to have a Zoom meeting on November 28th at 5:30. Does that work for the ones that are here in this room?
Sorry, November what?
November 28th, so next Tuesday at 5:30.
No. At 5 p.m. it's gonna be a rough one most days.
Okay.
I can do it. Does he want to send out like a doodle or something so people can just all like say specific?
Well, yeah, I mean, pose a different date. I mean,
Yes,
so-
I had the pipe dream that it would continue to be before this meeting.
Well, this is a kind
This
of
is
a
the-
brainstorm.
Okay.
Trying to get something in motion.
All right, got it.
And ultimately, yes, you are absolutely correct. It will be in.
Oh,
May.
perfect. Just can't make a brainstorming session.
Okay.
Tell him I need his stroke CME.
You write up on that? Can you write him a letter, John?
He continues on. In brief, the topics to be discussed at November 28th is creating a CQI project for the region. The project that he's proposing that we at least start with is the correct or incorrect usage of C-spine clearance protocols. Apparently, he's seen some inappropriate uses as some patients with that would have benefited from the use of appropriate C-spine. Few ideas using surveying tests, etc., to gain do some retrospective chart review, etc. Those are just some of the ideas that he is tossing around at the moment, but more can be discussed at the meeting.
Should I block off that date and time, or is it still like unclear in terms of when the brainstorming is, or should we just?
I will be in touch.
Great. Thank you.
Because there's a few people that are not here
Right.
in this room that are on that list, so let's just make sure that the majority can at least attend.
Great. Do I have any?
There's no enforcement.
No enforcement. What a meeting.
None. Been slacking off this month?
Generally, they fall like, in 2 weeks, we go to CMAC SEMSCO, and generally, like, right around that time frame, we'll come back, and then it'll be like 12.
Any other new business? I'll just make an announcement. So I have been asked, I guess, to add some additional responsibilities as Chief Medical Officer at Finger Lakes Health. Because of that, one of my roles in this capacity with REMAC was to go to state meetings. Those meetings are on our heavy admin days, so unfortunately I will have to step down from this role. This will be my last time chairing the REMAC. I appreciate everyone. I'm going to continue to do my best to attend these meetings, and certainly am available for anything for the region. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Congrats and condolences.
I know.
So Dr. Shi is going to step in to fill the role at the CMAC SEMSCO meetings for med standards. And our executive board is still not as far as running the actual REMAC. So that'll be a discussion between the three docs.
Great. Any other discussion? Motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Great.
Half an hour, we're out of here. Not even, sufficient. Are you sure you had some?
Now you got big shoes to